Hello and welcome back to another Tech Articles. In today's article, I'd like to discuss the first beta release of WP Codebox IDE. This is separate from WP Codebox Snippet plugin, but complementary rather than replacement. It's a standard IDE that works with inside WordPress, and in this video, I'm going to do a first look, show you some of the features, and discuss where I'd like to see this plugin go and some of the bits and pieces I'd like for it to do. And I'll start off by saying where I think this is really useful. Is this useful for me when I'm plugin developing? I currently use VS Code for that, and usually a local instance. But this will allow me to use a publicly accessible location, which is sometimes better. I use Windows, and sometimes I struggle with local, which is what I use, local by Flywheel, and the SSL certificates and publicly accessible APIs, etc. So actually, this will fix those issues because I will now be able to have either an InstaWP site or a staging site or demo site somewhere that will allow me to access. So the first thing I'm going to do is go down here to WP Codebox IDE. It's installed. It's ready to go. I'm going to open the Codebox IDE. Now, I can't open this in a new tab. I would like to see it automatically open into a new tab, personally. It's my first item. It doesn't. It will take my instance over and it will to log me straight into the back end. So, as you can see, I'm now in the front end of the IDE. So what I'm going to do for later, because we might want to come back, I'm just going to open up another instance here of the same site and go back to the IDE. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to plugins and show you the how to create a new plugin. It's got an inbuilt plugin creator, and we're just going to make a demo plugin here. So as you can see, I'm just generating a plugin. I do want a style sheet. I don't want anything else. So let's generate the plugin. And that's it, like that. There is now a plugin called Demo Plugin with these details. And if we go over to our plugins installation, you'll see there's one here, my custom plugin description, Demo Plugin. And you'll see here there's a plugin called Killer Plugin, which I created earlier. And we'll go through that towards the end of this video. But if I make any modifications, I will do it here in the Demo Plugin for now. And as you can see, it's a standard code editor. It works the same way as these code editors usually do. It has keyboard shortcuts for Control and F on Windows, the Command on Mac. Allows me to find. I have options here. It's find and replace. It gives me the options for doing so within the files. It's very intuitive to use. It's got PHP codings inside. It has smart finishing. So let's see, add action. So it's pulling up the WordPress functions. It's got that smart functions for me. So again, really quite a useful feature. Where this comes into its own is, as I said, plugin development, theme development, and in the case of theme development, you have an ability to view your site here. So if we come down to themes and header and open that, let's close this down here so you can see. What you'll see here is we get a live update as well as we go through. So I want to take the site title out. So let's take the site title out of there. Let's do the same here. And let's save that. And that's busted my site. And there we go. The site title is now gone. And I can see that all live. You can see it automatically updates as I work. So that's really quite useful when you're coding a theme. If you're putting in data, you want to see how it is. You're editing a style sheet or files that directly affect your front end. You can develop here live on your screen, all in the cloud, as in all on your website. There's no FTP and there's just none of those barriers to work, and it's relatively speedy on this installation. I haven't tested it with anything much larger, but on this installation, it's pretty speedy. And obviously, you can close that down, and you're back to where you were. So if we go back to our demo plugin here, you've got normal tab controls here with a right mouse click. I would like to see some compare options here. They're not there yet. I'd also like a proper split view as well. Kind of like this we've got here. I would like to see a split view with plugins, and I've had a play and I can't work out how to do that. And there's currently no documentation, and the creator is still making videos about it. So it might turn out that they're in there. In fact, a lot of the stuff I say, it might turn out that they're in there, and there's just not as intuitive for me to find as I thought they would be. But yeah, I would like to see some form of split working on files. Quite often I will find myself working on two files at the same time for various reasons, and to be able to open them up and split the view would be good, as would direct compare. It has a full set of menu options when you're on a plugin, etc., or a folder. So in this case, I'm on a plugin. I can actually activate that plugin from here. So if I activate it here, and there's nothing in it that should break anything, so you'll see it is activated here in WordPress. And if I deactivate it here and then go back to WordPress, you'll see it's been deactivated. So there's no reason to leave the IDE, and I think that's where I find it to be appealing. Because there's nothing worse than slowing your workflow down to then have to go and test. It's all done within here, so you could activate, deactivate, load your screen, assuming that your output is going to be on the site. I haven't tried this, but I assume you could get into the WP admin area here. You can, so you could even if what you were doing was in the back end on your plugin, you can look at it as you type, as you save. So to me, that's quite useful. Actually, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll use another one of their products. Let me load it up on another tab. WP Codebox. Let's ask WP Codebox to make us an admin menu. So let's pull this over here. You should be able to see this now. Let's log in, and let's generate a code snippet to add a menu item. And there we go. They should add our item. So we're going to copy that. We're going to move that out of the way for you. I'm going to come back to our demo plugin. I'm going to open up that file, and I'm going to drop that code in here, and then I'm going to save our file. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to refresh the page. Oh, it's not activated, is it? I deactivated it as part of our test. So with a bit of luck, we should have on here somewhere a new demo video admin page, and welcome to our demo video page. So you can see how this could be useful. So where it says welcome to our demo page here, I'm going to change this and put a 2 in front of it. I'm going to save this, and you'll see it reloads. So this is what I mean about the IDE being useful for plugin development and theme development. You'll be able to see very quickly what you're doing and what you're not. So I'm going to run over a few of the other right click options you have on the Explorer side. You can upload and download, make new files and new folders. So I'll make a new folder in here called test. And I'll tell you what, I'll make a new file as well called test as well. We call it a JavaScript file. They're not going to be called, so it makes no difference. And of course, you can click on them, you can delete them, like so. And there our 2 files are done. I quite like being able to set our dev path. So let's say we are working on demo plugin exclusively. We can set that as our path, and that is our base path. It's very easy to get back out. We can just push this and it'll take us back out. As I've shown before, you can activate, you can deactivate, you can copy, cut, and rename. I've done delete. You can zip a folder and then download that folder. Copying paths and URLs is also possible. No duplicate, which I think would be useful in this case. Duplicating files, I do it all the time when I want to test a modification in code, because there's no version control here. There's no even in terms of how WordPress would handle version controls. So there's no revisions, there's no Git type version control. So a duplication would be useful. In fact, I'd like to see version control added, but as a rule, there is just none here now. So a duplicate file would be really useful for those situations. It's capable. It's a capable piece of software. You can see open files, view screenshots within them. You can close your tabs. You can have many multiple tabs open. If I change this as it is and close this down, and I come back to the IDE, it has a save state, which is how you would expect it to be. So you can come back to it later. It also has an option to come in without having to come through the admin menu. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a password of test in, and I'm going to save that external access, and I'm going to copy this URL. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another new incognito browser here, and I'm just going to put this in, and you'll see I've got a front end login without having to go through WordPress. And if I type admin and test in, it will let me in, and you'll see I'm in, and it's all set, all done. All that access is now available to me as it was. And if I was to view the site, it's here. I can view the site, I can work on it, and I've not gone through the traditional WordPress login, which is useful. I have security concerns about it. I don't know how robust the security is. Any sort of move away from the standard way in is always going to cause me concerns, but again, useful on sites where I'm not really going into WordPress, into the dashboard, I'm not really doing a lot in the dashboard. Really useful to be able to do all that there and then. And really, that is the basic features for now. You can obviously edit it. You'll change your editors to a light or a dark mode. I prefer dark. I'm going to now close these down, and I'm going to close this whole tab down and go back to this one here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up another instance of the dashboard. I'm going to go back here, check plugins, and I'm going to deactivate the demo plugin. I'm now going to activate the killer plugin on the back end here, and I'm going to go to the front end, and that's killed my WordPress installation. Now I'm going to deactivate it here, and it's worked back again. And then I'm going to activate it here, go back, it's killed, and then what I'm going to do now is refresh this page. So actually it's got good control because it runs outside of WordPress. You're now not locked into a doom cycle of not being able to get into your WordPress and deactivate this plugin and make the modifications to the killer program. So if, like me, you're forever leaving those semicolons off, or in this case, calling an undeclared function, you're not going to lose all your work and have to go FTP in and find the files and delete it. It's all here, all in your workflow. Damn, I've made a mistake. Okay, that's fine. Let's just remove this out. What an idiot! Why did I do such a thing? And that's it, fixed. Killer plugins in, no more error. And to me, that is a really useful feature in a proper IDE environment. So I like that. I like the fact that it's got state. It remembers the state. So if I close it down, I reopen the IDE, it remembers where I was. Also useful for working on plugins and themes, because the amount of times that I will pick something up and come back to it later, really useful. I do have a wish list of things I wish it did. As I said, split view. I haven't worked out a way to split view yet. I think that would be really quite useful for me. Definitely needs a duplicate function. I would love some form of version control, even if it was revisions as WordPress uses of files. Because I do it all the time. I do bit by bit, and it's why I like Git so much, because I'm a bit by bit sort of coder. I'm not really a developer, and I make a lot of mistakes. As I say, I forever leaving off colons or change, forgetting what I called a function, or any of those other things that I do. So to me, having some sort of way to roll back built into this without having to leave this workflow would be quite useful. Um, there is a search function here, which I believe is meant to work within the folders. I've tested it a few times, and I haven't been able to get it to function the way I'd expect it to function. I don't know if it's slow. I don't know if it's that, but I would like to see the same options that we have in terms of find and replace within files using the Control F. I'd like to see that on whole folders. They are useful when you're changing a plugin's description. For me, I tend to be, as I say, I'm not a native developer, and one of the things I tend to do is reuse code a lot. So being able to find or replace, for example, error logging, which I don't tend to write myself. I tend to ask ChatGPT to write for me within code. I tend to give it the code and say, can you error log this with a define error log variable to turn it on and off. It saves me having to write all that manually and put it in the right place and cap all the variables. It's so much quicker. But that means that there is that non-unique name, and sometimes I just need to find and replace in a folder, and I would like to see that as an option. I'd like a couple of extra tab controls as well. Close tabs, close all tabs, close other tabs, and I like close left, close right, because I tend to organise my tabs based on where I'm working, what I need, what I don't need. But that isn't high on my list. A compare function would be really useful here as well, particularly when used with the duplicate or the revision function. I think it's missing some key MIME tools, so I would like to see inbuilt base64 decoding code, SVG encoding, URL encode, decode, and hex to ASCII conversions would be nice as well. Just some of those little nice to haves that you have in a proper IDE environment. I'd like to see them here for when I need them. I don't need them often, but when I want to decode something in base64, I don't really. For me, it's all about not leaving the environment you're working in. And the more stuff that's here, the more stuff I can use, the better. As I mentioned about the login external access item, I'm not sure about the security of this, and I'm sure somebody will tell me that it's great, but I would like to see some better security here, maybe some sort of 2FA or some other way to allow me to secure it a little easier. I suppose I could even being able to change this URL would give me some hope. But I can add stuff to it, but I can't really change what it does. It's going to a particular file in the folder. So maybe an option that allowed me to change this. And I haven't actually tried this, so let's try changing this to front end 2 and save remote access. And let's see if that works. I haven't tried this. I'm assuming that's not how it works, but I might be wrong here. So let's try it. Front end 2. Page not found, as I expected. So I would like to be able to customize that for my security, as well as, like I said, some sort of 2FA would be useful for me, or some sort of tool that allows me to maybe put it in a protected directory at the very least, so that I've got basic auth there to protect me as well. I'd like to see a JavaScript beautifier to make it a little bit easier to read. I find JavaScript, particularly in plugins, to be long old lines of text. I would like to see it items. Even better if there was a JavaScript tracer, so that you could trace variables through your JavaScript, because it's one of those issues that I find that I always lean on plugins in my dev environment, is tracing JavaScript through, because of the way JavaScript's written, particularly in plugins. Obviously, I'd like to see WP Codebox functions within the IDE. Currently, they're not there. I imagine there is plans to do, but I would also like to see Open API included with bring your own key. And yeah, overall, I haven't tried the syntax checking and the fault finding, but some indication that what you're doing is wrong would be nice as well. Like telling me that this function isn't defined anywhere in this folder or anywhere we can item, and obviously that is complicated to put in, but some sort of helpful identification along the lines here. I have seen versions of this where it will give you a indication here that this is where the fault lies, and I couldn't see such an option on here. Let's actually see if that does do that. I haven't seen it, so that's our code there. Let's reload this page. Yeah, there is nothing to indicate this is what's causing the fault in the error log. You've got obviously would have access to the error logs here to be able to see. That's good. It would be nice to actually to be able to maybe enable and disable the error logs from here as well, so that you could see what the critical error was, so you could read the log file without having to if it's not set to be able to set login and stuff from the back end here. I could edit the file and do that now, but a quicker way of doing that would be easier for me as well. But overall, for an initial release in a beta, I'm happy with it. I haven't been able to break it yet. I've had a good play. So yeah, this is WP Codebox IDE. It's my first look. I've gone over the things that I would like to see added into it, and I believe it will be on public sale soon. It will still be a beta release, but you will be able to buy a beta. And I recommend everyone invest in everyone who has purpose to invest in an IDE does invest in an IDE. If you're developing plugins, if you're moving beyond that snippet integration, yes, WP Codebox allows you to generate a plugin. But actually, I develop several plugins for my site, so I tend to, like my automation, I tend to split my plugins down to functionality depending, and have that functionality just delivered by that item. So to me, I can see the real benefit for this, and it was a no-brainer to buy. I trusted the developer. I'm impressed with WP Codebox. He's taken suggestions on board. So yeah, I thought I'd do an introduction. Hopefully you found this video useful. And yeah, any questions, put them in the comments. If you like this video, I want to see videos like this, first looks at plugins, WordPress automation, WordPress in general, then please like and subscribe to the channel. And if there's a video you'd like me to do, leave it in the comments, leave it on a Facebook group, and I'll look into it for you. Thank you.